Welcome back. New episode. Champions League here from the USA, Pacific Northwest. Welcome back, your Arsenal Fan TV America. Happy to have you on such a fantastic occasion. Of course, if you're an Arsenal fan, you are on cloud nine. You are so happy, not just because we're back in the Champions League, but we also beat PSV Eindhoven, the Netherlands champions. We beat them 4-0 at the Emirates. And what a game. I mean, listen, we could talk for days, but hey, great news is Champions League is back for everyone, not just Arsenal. But of course, it's very special for us because since 2016-2017 season, 6 years ago, when Arsene Wenger was around, that was the last year we saw Champions League. So, hey, it's been some time, and it's good to see the Emirates back shining on the Champions League nights. It's beautiful to hear this song, the Champions League song throughout, of course, the whole entire stadium. It was beautiful to see. We're going to take you first to each and every group because, as you know, this was match day one. Match day one was played on 2 days, yesterday, Tuesday, and today, Wednesday, the rest of the game. So we're going to take you group by group. We're going to highlight every single team that needs to be highlighted, needs to be talked about. But we'll let you know the outcome of all these match day 1 and 2 games. Who won, who drew, who didn't, and also where is the group after match day 1. So let's fly and go to Group A. As you all know, Group A has Bayern Munich, Copenhagen, Galatasaray, and Manchester United. Of course, one of the highlight games of this kickoff for the Champions League that was played today on Wednesday, second day of match day 1 between Manchester United and Bayern Munich, where at the Allianz Arena in Germany, of course, Bayern Munich home. It's pretty impossible to go beat them at home. It's really, really tough. Man United went out there. First half wasn't the greatest for Man United, and Bayern Munich put 3 behind them. But you cannot say in a Champions League that you won the game just because you put 3 or 2 or whatever behind your opponent. You got to keep going. Comes in the second half. All of a sudden, Manchester United, they wake up. So anyways, make the long story short, was a good game, was a good watch. Yes, Harry Kane scored. Casemiro scored twice for Manchester United for their comeback. You got to watch it. It's a good game. Ended with 7 goals. 4-3 for Bayern Munich. Let's go to the second game of that same group, Group A. Of course, the two teams left we didn't talk about is Galatasaray and Copenhagen, which is the Denmark. Copenhagen is a Denmark club, and Galatasaray, of course, is a Turkish club. They played in Galatasaray in Turkey, and it was good for Copenhagen actually to draw the Turkish Kings at their own ground. It's a very strong team. Galatasaray has names like Icardi, of course, and such. So we were expecting them to beat Copenhagen in Turkey and on their own, on their home turf. But it didn't happen. Copenhagen stayed strong, and that game was 2-2. Next, we're going to go to Group B. Before we leave Group A, I wanted to tell you that, of course, Bayern Munich is sitting as the first, top of the group. Second is now Copenhagen. Third is Galatasaray. They both have 1 point. And then, of course, lastly, number 4 is Manchester United. Now we go to Group B. And, of course, Group B, I'm going to remind you, this is your beloved Arsenal Football Club group. In that same group, we have Sevilla, we have PSV Eindhoven, and we have the French team Lens. What happened between Arsenal and PSV was the second best or the second biggest win of the match day 1 of the 2 days. We're going to talk about who was the first here momentarily, but Arsenal were the second to score 4 goals and win big on the day. As we saw, of course, great game. You got to watch it. We had plenty of goals, of course, 4 goals. Let's talk about that. First 8 minutes it took us for Bukayo Saka to be able to bounce back on that reflected save from the shot from Odegaard. Goalie reflects it right into Saka's path. He should have pushed it to corner, but he didn't. Thank you. Saka hounds on that. He scores. We saw the second goal after Bukayo scores. He goes and assists Trossard. And Trossard scores a beautiful goal right outside of the 18. He scored a similar one in preseason, scores it right on the left side of the goal, takes it one time after Bukayo Saka played straight to him from the wing side. And then we see the third. Trossard now wanted to assist, so he plays a beautiful ball with his left foot, finds Gabby Jesus, brings it down like a real number 9, smacks it, puts all the power behind it, and puts it on the right side past the goalkeeper for PSV Eindhoven. And we go to first half, 3-0. The second half, Martin Odegaard said, no, I'm not going to go home without scoring, and he scores the fourth for Arsenal. I'm going to talk about Arsenal here a little bit. It's probably the only team I'm going to discuss, formation or what happened and who started, who didn't. I really liked when I saw the back four, Zinchenko left back, right back, Ben White, and in the middle, you see Gabriel, and next to him, Willie Saliba. That's our solid back four. Let's not get creative. Let's play them always when they're available, and that's what Mikel Arteta did today. Solid performance from the back four. Before we also back four, we always assumed who? Ramsdale in goal. Today, didn't happen. And Aaron Ramsdale sat on the sidelines as a substitute for the second game in a row. That's not a Premier League game now. It's a Champions League game. And David Raya was in goal for Arsenal for his first match to play in the Champions League football. Played very, very well. I love the way he distributes the ball. He always finds someone with a long pass, which we lacked in the past. We always play short, but sometimes, when you see it very condensed around the 18, you have to pick someone up front. You have to have an outlet. So the goalkeeper did really, really well in his distribution today, David Raya, and had, of course, a clean sheet. Now, we talked about the back four. Beautiful to see them start. Now, back to the midfield. I see Kai Havertz back. Champions League. He scored the winning Champions League goal. Let's not forget. I'd play him. Okay. Martin Odegaard and then Declan Rice. Up front, it was a different, new partnership. Trossard on one flank left. Bukayo Saka on the right. And through the middle, Gabriel Jesus. I like that because Martinelli, of course, we know got hurt last match. Got out 20-some-odd minutes. But Trossard did really good, and you could see scored and assisted. He went out early in the second half. I wouldn't want to, see him go out early because, again, he should be rewarded for a goal and assist. But so did Bukayo Saka also. We saw Declan Rice go out for Jorginho. We saw Bukayo Saka gets out. But I was really happy to see Nelson play. I was really happy to see Emil Smith-Rowe play. Fabio Vieira came in, didn't do too bad. So the substitutes were on point. Also, and we really enjoyed the Arsenal game. We should be playing like that every single week, but we should be having more goals like today. We always play that football that's just content. We're slower, I want to say, to a fault, but when we play quicker football and a give and go and, penetrate from the middle, it really does happen for us. Performances-wise, I think Arsenal team had let's talk about Declan Rice, Odegaard. There was a moment where they really weren't happy with each other's first half, away from each other's. I don't think that Zinchenko was coming in to close that, pyramid or triangle in the middle. So at that point, we saw Declan Rice went away a little bit, became more defensive, went away from Odegaard. Odegaard had a conversation also with Mikel Arteta about it, if you saw in the first half. But they were able to recoup and play beautiful both together. And it did work for them. And Kai Havertz also wasn't too bad. Second half, Kai Havertz played up front a little bit as a false number 9. So again, didn't do too bad. And congratulations, you're gonna. It's been a minute. And, we're used to Arsene Wenger's days. We're 19 years. He took us in a row to Champions League, and that was a record. Only Barcelona and Real Madrid. Only a couple other clubs have, more than that. So Arsenal is, up there. So again, it was great to see us back with a win. So of course now we're top of the group. Before we talk about the group and conclude, let's go to the other match in Spain. Sevilla played Lens, and it was 1-1. So when we look at this group, you'll see right there, Arsenal Football Club is the number 1 spot. Lens is the number 2. Sevilla, number 3. They both have 1 point. Arsenal have 3. And PSV Eindhoven have 0. And that was Group B. Congratulations, you're Gunnar. What a win today for Arsenal, and what a great start for our Champions League campaign. Let's go to Group C. Group C has Napoli, Real Madrid, Club Brugge, and Union Berlin. We're going to, of course, talk about Real Madrid's game. Of course, you know, Champions League, there's a couple of games that are early and all other games played at the same time, right? So the early game, one of them was Real Madrid, and Real Madrid played an amazing game versus Union Berlin. Lots of chances that were missed. You should watch that game if you haven't. Real Madrid, Union Berlin. They played at the new Bernabeu. And of course, what a beautiful stadium. New carpet, ground, of course, field, pitch. Looks like a carpet. That's how beautiful it is. Retractable roof. And from the outside, looks like a spaceship. So what a stadium. It was full today, 80,000 or 80 some odd thousand people watching Real Madrid win with, of course, the Jude Bellingham last-minute goal. Congratulations to Real Madrid. Of course, now that puts them on top. Oops, nope, that doesn't put them on top. Napoli's on top. So before we conclude about the group and see who's on top, who's not, let's go to the Napoli-Braga game that was played at the Braga Stadium. And of course, we saw till the last second, Braga hit the post. They were trying to draw, but failed. Napoli, the Italian giants that won the Scudetto last year, were able to beat Braga 2-1. So now we'll see Napoli and top. Real Madrid, of course, both of them has 3 points. And Braga is tight down there with Union Berlin. Both of them has 0 because, of course, as you know, you win, you have 3 points. You draw, you have 1 point. And 0 is nothing. You don't win or you don't draw. And that was that for that group. Next, we're going to go to Group D. As you can see, Salzburg, Inter, Real Sociedad, and Benfica. We're going to go real quick to the first game, which was Real Sociedad versus Inter Milan. I thought Inter would win, but remember I told you KT and Real Sociedad is a strong team. They played in Spain and were able to hold on to a 1-1 draw, so they shared the points, shared the goals. However, we go to Benfica in Portugal, and the other game, they played Salzburg, and this was a surprise to me that Salzburg were able to beat Benfica at Benfica 2-0. Who's now climbing up to be the top of that group? It's Salzburg. You will never expect Group D to be headed by Salzburg. You would say Inter, Real Sociedad, or Benfica would be before Salzburg. However, we've seen that Salzburg is number 1, as we could see, 3 points. Number 2 is Inter Milan, 1 point. Real Sociedad, 1 point, and Benfica, 0. And that was it for Group D. And next we are going to Group E. I'm going to remind you that's Atletico Madrid, Lazio, Celtic, and Feyenoord. And here's what happened for that group match day 1. Feyenoord, they played Celtic, and they beat them 2-0. Atletico Madrid was able to draw Lazio in Italy, so that was a tight 1-1 game. Now, as you can see, Group E, Feyenoord sitting on top of the group. Again, unexpected, 3 points. Atletico Madrid and Lazio, both second and third, 1 point each. And Celtic is number 4 with 0 points. Now, next we go to Group F. And let me remind you that Group F is the group of death that has PSG, Borussia Dortmund that played yesterday, and also have AC Milan and Newcastle United. PSG were able, of course, with Mbappe that always scores in a Champions League game. They were able to beat Borussia Dortmund 2-0. Paris Saint-Germain, they won and beat, again, Borussia Dortmund 2-0. And the other game between AC Milan and Newcastle, by the way, the PSG game was played at the Parc des Princes, which is in France, at PSG ground. The second game was played in Italy, AC Milan at the San Siro, but they were not able to win that game or beat Newcastle, so the game ended 0-0. On top of the group, of course, will be sitting Paris Saint-Germain with 3 points, and then Milan and Newcastle will both share a point, second and third. Borussia Dortmund sitting number 4 in that group. Let's go to the next group, Group G. That's Group G, next group. And of course, we know Man City with Leipzig, Crvena Zvezda, and Young Boys. Those are the 4 teams. Manchester City played Crvena and they beat them 3-1. Actually, they were down the first half 1-0. And then Man City came and scored 3, so they won 3-1. The other game was Young Boys versus Leipzig, RB Leipzig, the German team, and it ended the same thing. But this time, Young Boys were down, the host, for Leipzig 3. So 3-1 Leipzig, 3-1 Manchester City, and as we can see, Manchester City and Leipzig both tied on points for that group. Leipzig sitting up number 1, City number 2, Zvezda number 3, and Young Boys, of course, number 4, and both of them has 0 points, as we can see. And that was Group G for you. And finally, we go to Group H, Barcelona, FC Porto, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Antwerp. Barcelona were able to get the number 1 win with the most goals, which is 5-0. Of course, we talked about Arsenal earlier. They were the second biggest win with 4-0 versus PSV. Barcelona played Antwerp in Barcelona or in Spain, and they were able to beat them 5-0. Shakhtar Donetsk played Porto at Shakhtar Donetsk, but FC Porto, of course, not at Shakhtar Donetsk Stadium, but FC Porto in the other game were able to beat Shakhtar Donetsk 3-1. So now we see Barcelona sitting on top of that group, Group H, with 3 points. Number 2, FC Porto, 3 points. 0 for Shakhtar Donetsk and 0 for Antwerp. And hey, what a day it was, the beginning of the Champions League football for 2023-2024 match day 1. Played over Tuesday and Wednesday. Great games, great goals. Congratulations. I think Arsenal played the best football I've seen in a while, and they were able to win 4-0 versus PSV Eindhoven. Come on, you Gunners. Next for us, Sunday, we're playing who? Yes, the ones we don't speak of. We're playing our noisy neighbors, Arsenal Tottenham derby on Sunday. Come on, you Gunners. We're coming out from a Champions League win. We win Everton last week, also Premier League. I think this is it for us. We got to go in and beat Tottenham. We're on a high, and I pretty much know we're going to use that versus Tottenham or against Tottenham, and we're going to beat them at least 3-0, hopefully 2-3-0 this coming weekend. Come on, you Gunners. We'll see you next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. That was Champions League football today. We'll come back to you Sunday with a Premier League. Come on, you Gunners. Take care. Have a great week.